new movie by Christopher Nolan is about Robert J. Oppenheimer, who led the Manhattan Project. It has made people curious about nuclear weapons and who has them and the danger they still pose worldwide. Now, let us talk about the facts. The Trinity Test caused a harmful legacy of cancer in the communities living in the direction of the wind. The Trinity Test in Alamogordo was the first time they tested a nuclear weapon, but they did more tests after that. These tests caused permanent damage to the environment and the community nearby. The people living in the area affected by the radioactive fallout called themselves the Tularusa Basin Downwinders, because the radiation from the test spread in the direction of the wind to their communities. Sadly, safety was not a big concern during the Trinity test. They did not even think the fallout would spread so far, did not study its effects properly, and did not evacuate anyone. The people living there were not even told about the test, and the fallout covered their farms, homes, and wells like snow. The damage was obvious right away in the months after the Trinity test, which is August, September, and October 1945, as more babies died in New Mexico and many of them had rare birth defects, as radiation is especially harmful to rapidly growing cells, so it affected babies, children, and also pregnant women the most. But even after they knew about the problems, they did not do anything to help. Nuclear weapons are more likely to be used now than even before, which is eventually true. Even before the war in Ukraine started, the United Nations was warning that there is a higher chance of nuclear weapons being used now than during the Cold War, when people practiced curtain-covered winds and built fallout shelters. Expertly from the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists even calculated the child born today might not live their whole life without witnessing the devastation caused by nuclear weapons. Since the Russian invasion of Ukraine, there have been many nuclear threats and statements of retaliation, making the risk even bigger. This is why the Doomsday clock, which symbolizes how close we are to a global catastrophe, is now closer to midnight than even before. And now let us talk about the myths. Nuclear weapons brought an end to World War II, which is an argument as it's not true, and argument that dropping atomic bombs saved more lives by preventing a US invasion of Japan overlooks important issues. First, it's impossible to know for sure because secondly, it avoids addressing why the bomb was used against Japan after Germany had already surrendered and Japan did not have a nuclear weapons project. Decision makers also conveniently ignore the cruel nature of these weapons knowingly used against civilians, which many even at the time recognized as war crime. Interestingly, some of the top US military commanders believed that the bombings did not play a significant role in Japan's surrender. The commander-in-chief of the US Pacific Fleet, Admiral Nimitz, stated that the Japanese had already sought peace and the atomic bomb did not decisively contribute to Japan's defeat from a purely military perspective. Nuclear weapons stopped big fights or even a third world war from happening, which is actually there is no clear proof that nuclear weapons prevent wars and maintain stability, except for the fact that a major world war hasn't happened since they were developed. During the Cold War, both the USSR and US built up nuclear weapons which might have prevented them from directly fighting each other. They continued to fight through proxy wars as in developing nations. The development of nuclear bombs did not end wars. In some instances, proxy wars came very close to turning into nuclear wars. Even though there hasn't been a nuclear war since 1945, nuclear weapons haven't stopped countries from facing regular attacks. For example, in 1982, Argentina attacked the British overseas territory of the Falklands Islands, and US nuclear arsenal did not prevent the 9/11 attacks by Al-Qaeda on New York and Washington. There have been other conflicts like the 1973 Yom Kippur War and Kargil War in 1999 as well. These are few facts and myths which have affected the world after the Trinity Test.